Alrighty, so we're going to start setting some keys, and this is a good time for you to refer to your Maya Shortcuts document that I actually gave you guys. Um, this has a lot of the shortcuts that you will see and how to set keys. And so referring to these under animation operations and playback control is going to be very useful to you for when you're trying to remember. So basically, um, these guys are the ones that you want to actually um, remember a lot because they are really going to help you. Um, Pressing S to set a key, or Shift plus E, R, or W, which are the QWERTY keys for either rotate, scale, or translate, are going to allow you to set keys, and we're going to go over that in a second. Furthermore, bouncing between frames is also going to be important, using the period or the comma to go back and forth between frames. But we'll get into some of those, but just wanted to show you that and reminder to your Maya Shortcut Keys doc I gave you. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to worry about is basically if I have an object and I have it all set up for you is setting a key. So we have a ball and we're going to, actually I'm going to take this one way over here. And what we're going to do is we are going to, we're basically going to set this guy up to start bouncing. And we're just going to do something very simple. Okay. And for that, I'm not even going to use the graph editor yet. Obviously, the idea of a ball bouncing is that it would start, it's not going to start from the ground and bounce up. That's just weird. But starting from up here, and then each bounce, because energy is going to decrease, should be lower than the previous one. Okay. How much depends on the material of the ball, and we'll talk more about that, but just setting the keys. So let's say I'm going to set my range slider to about 100 for right now, just so we can set it up. And so I'm going to start it up here. I'm going to go to frame 0. So basically the progression is this. And actually, you know what, before I even do that, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to drop it down to here, and you'll notice because I created it someplace else, moved it over and stuff, there's values in here. And with the ball selected, I'm going to say modify freeze transformations. And what you'll notice is that that zeroes everything out but the scale. And why is that important is because sometimes I want to make sure that when this ball bounces or hits the ground, it's going to go exactly where the ground is, and I don't want to like not a fraction of or underneath or on top and not be hitting it where I have these values. But if I just go in and type in 0, it's resting now perfectly on the ground. So now I'm going to move it up and say, let's say the ball starts way up here. And now if I want to, moving it up and down, that's all we're going to do for this first exercise, is just the Y translate. It's not the rotate, it's not the scale. I'm not going to worry about a lot of these other things. I just want it to bounce, boom, 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 and stop. So at frame 0, I want you to start your animation up here, and I'm going to press, if I want to key everything, I just press S. And you'll notice that keys everything. We'll talk about keying just the translate, which is really all I had to do, but I just want you to get into this. This keys all the attributes. Hitting S keys all the attributes that are in your channel box. How long is it going to take me, this ball, to hit the ground? I'm thinking, now 24 frames a second. That's actually kind of long for it to take to hit the ground. That's an entire second. That's 1/1000. And just so you can kind of see, if I actually go down, or let's just bring it down to here. So I moved to the frame. If I scrub, you notice it pushes it back up because now that I've keyed it, it stays there. So if I scrub to 24, drag it down, and make sure it's perfectly flat by just going in here and typing 0. Make sure this window is highlighted and press S. And you see every time I hit S, I have a line. So here it is here. So let's see what that does. It's not too bad for now. Now, if I actually go in and say 48, and I'm just going to show you like a nice even sort of keel. So if I'm going to do it halfway now, press S. And drop it down. If I press S here, you notice it just dropped into there. That's not working. So I have to highlight this window. Or I could just zoom in and out just for a second and press S. So let's see what we have so far if I hit play. It's bouncing, but it looks like it's underwater. And that's because it's taking so long. And like I said, 1 second's an awful long time, right? So I'm going to press Z. Let's just Z out of that. So let's say instead of frame 24, 10 frames, it's going to drop down. Press S. That's acting very weird. Why is that acting weird? Let's Z out of that. That's acting very funky. So frame 0, I press S, it sets a key. At frame 10, I'm going to drop you down to here. Zero, press S. There we go. That was a little weird. So, boom. And let's say at frame 20, boost you up, not as high. Press S. Now, another way of getting it immediately down, because we want it where it was at frame 10, but we just want that to be at frame 30. Go to frame 10, middle mouse click and drag to frame 30. And when I do that, you notice when I middle mouse click, it doesn't advance the animation, it just goes to a different frame. So now I can press S at wherever I was at, see? Boom, boom, boom. So if that one was this high, then this one should be about that high, maybe. So at frame 40. Now at frame 30, and we'll grab that and move to 50. S. Boom, boom, boom. And then maybe at set a key. Set a key. And what you'll notice is that I'm basically making him kind of bounce. So now if let's deselect and play. So it's okay. It's bouncing. And I was hitting S, and these are my keyframes. At this point in time, it's there. At this point in time, it's there. At this point in time, it's there, and so on and so forth. And that's basically what you're doing with these keyframes. The problem is, it's kind of has this underwater thing going on, right? But I did set the keys and I got the basics in. It's just it's not exactly gorgeous for a few different reasons. But that has to do with this, the graph editor. So I'm going to zoom out, select everything, and then press F so I could see it. These are all those attributes from the channel box. And the one I'm only really worried about is the translate Y. If we look here, do you see that? This is the animation curve of this going up and down. Now, realistically, the way this is supposed to work is that as a ball is animating, it should accelerate as it comes down, bounce really fast off, and then as it goes up, start slowing down, reach its apex, and then start slowly coming down. Accelerate, boom, go fast, boom. Start to go up, slow down, and then repeat that. But each time with less energy, which is why it doesn't go as high as it bounces high as it did previously. So the problem that we're having here is that these guys are consistent. It's like a mad scientist like little wave you'd see on some machine in a laboratory. And what it's supposed to look like is that the bottoms should be V-shaped and these should be a little flatter. Why is that? Well, these are motion. And the more vertical, in other words, straight up and down a line is, the faster the action. The more horizontal it is, the slower the action. So it's like going, it accelerates a little bit, keeps constant, then it slows a little, then it accelerates and slows, accelerates, slows, accelerates, slows. And it's doing this weird, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can thing. And what we want it to look like, because look at it right now. Let's take a quick look before we fix it. Looks kind of underwatery, right? Now, if I take these and I make them V-shape, in other words, these are called tangents. If you're used to Illustrator, they'd sound familiar. So I press W, so I'm on my Move tool. And that's an important thing. If I'm just on the Selection tool and I try moving these, nothing's going to happen because without it, it doesn't know what I'm trying to do. So I have to be in the Move tool. And I could move a handle I've selected, which fixes one end and jacks up the other. And now this guy's going to go under, because this dipped below, and then it'll pop back up. Not exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to break these tangents, the ones I've selected. Now you notice this handle is red and this one's blue. And now I can make my nice little V shape. I can even pull on these because they were weighted. Oops. Make it rounder like that. So what about that first hop? Remember I was underwater. Watch this. That looks more like a nice little bounce. Watch that first one and then boom. Then it gets weird again. So I have to do that for all of these. So watch me do it again. I select the bottom one. I break the tangent with this little icon here. I know it's broken because one side is now this blue, one's this magenta, and now I can grab it, that handle, drag select it, and then I can just left mouse or middle mouse and move it. And I want to grab this one. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to get this more of a pointy V shape because that means it's just going to pop right off the ground. Do it again. Take this one, break them. It also means that when this reaches its apex, it's going to slow down. So it slows, almost stops, hangs in there going, oh no, I got to do it again. And it drops down. Do it one more time. Break that. Now the reason I'm able to extend them if I want to is because they were weighted initially. And you'll remember we adjusted that in our settings. This last guy I don't even have to break because there's nothing else it's feeding into. But now, just with that one change, let's see what this looks like now. And that looks better. Not perfect, but it's a little too much hang time. But that's a really, really good start of just getting that pop of when it hits accel. Boom, 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 boom. And if this one's hanging too much because that's too long. So later on we'll discuss how to scale these. The fewer the frames in between, the faster the action. The more frames there are between this and this, the longer it takes. So what we're seeing is this action to this action takes half the time that it does to go from here to here, wherever that is. Okay. We'll stop that one there before we continue.